Hello, my name is Albie13, and I'm the inventor of computer coffee. And so, what you're looking at is my Rube Goldberg style machine of asking an AI to make coffee for you. And then we have a complicated system, and at the end, we get a hot cup of coffee. That's what this is. And so, I've been asked the question, what am I looking at, and how does this work? And so obviously this image, as you start to look at some of the funny details, it'll become obvious that this is an artificial intelligence generated image based on my idea. And so that's okay because it made this image in 5 seconds instead of me having to Photoshop it. So forget it, right? The idea is more important than a perfect image. But here we go. So I decided instead of going the route of using ChatGPT and other AI, now we realize that we have all kinds of agents, and agents can trigger things for you if you want to do it that way, or they can create a system for you to trigger it. I mean, you can literally ask your AI to create a button on your computer that you push with your keyboard or mouse, and then it does this process. So it's just to illustrate the concept of we interact with AI perhaps more and more. Perhaps some of us will be doing it now that we know what AI is, but we have to have reasons to use it, right? So we're looking at Quen 3.827b, a local large language model that runs on consumer hardware. Granted, you have to have a powerful GPU, like an NVIDIA RTX 5090, to make it like nice to do. Um, some of the new Apple, they just released a new Apple mini computer that has the new chip, and you can use AI right there out of the box. So it's becoming more common. And so this is a local model. It runs without internet actually, and you don't actually need internet to run this system. And so what this is for people who want to have a self-contained system of sort. Um, you don't need to rely on cloud software, AI providers. You don't need to rely on your internet provider. So the way that this works, although there's a little bit more to it, we ask our AI, and the AI in turn can use a tool call or essentially trigger this button that I talked about, and it will go ahead and send the signal. So our AI is on our computer, represented by the computer at the bottom, and then we're sending a signal through either Wi-Fi or our wired connection to our router. Our router is the thing that shares internet, and it's the thing that allows devices to communicate to each other through our internet network. So we have a local network, as we call it. You notice I've used the word local twice now. And so what ends up happening here is it communicates from the router to over to our, in this case, we have a small computer called the Raspberry Pi. A lot of people know Raspberry Pi. There are many single board computers or SBCs like Raspberry Pi, and they're very inexpensive. They can be very inexpensive to do this task of basically receiving a signal. And then, as you can see, what you're going to see is that. So, let me just finish the thought on this. These computers can cost like $50 or less. You don't need to have the latest Raspberry Pi that could cost $150 or more. They go up to $300. You don't even need to spend that much money. The servo actuator, which I'm going to get to in a second, and the Raspberry Pi, you know, you can have an equivalent for like, whatever, $70 with all the little bells and whistles, the power, the micro SD card, and all this stuff. Um, Under $100 or whatever. So very affordable, even in today's memory uh, apocalypse. So we have these little wires that are connected to our servo actuator, and I actually have experience with these servos because I've built a robot arm, and it uses this type. And all it is when you can control, like the rotation with a motor, and so you can cause it to trigger things. And so basically, you can have it turn and press something down, and then unturn to release the pressing down on the button. And so it's not perfectly shown in the image because the AI doesn't do that well of a job. But essentially, it's just a button pusher. But all it does is it works on electricity. So it requires your little computer to drive it and to have some intelligence in terms of, okay, I press the button down for, how long? A second, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. And then I back up the servo and I lift off of the button like a finger pushing the coffee machine. This would be mounted on the coffee machine in a nice way. And essentially, it then we have a fully automatic coffee maker, which is nothing new. So I was asked the question, well, what's going to happen because you have to have the coffee mug? And I said, yes. So here's the way that this is designed to work. You ask your AI to make you coffee, it pushes the button on your coffee maker, and it takes like a few minutes for your coffee to be completely done, right? So then you get up from your computer, walk over, and sadly, you still have to grab your mug with your hand. But the key thing here is that what you want to do is you want to empty out the K cup, empty out the coffee, and put new coffee in and close it so it's ready, and put a new mug down. And the reason why you want to do this is because you're taking your hot coffee that's ready and you're going to drink it and consume it. But next time you want to ask your AI to make you another cup of coffee, the coffee machine will be ready because it has water. You obviously looked at that. You just put fresh coffee and you put a clean mug in there. So the coffee machine is ready. It always can be ready. We don't usually use it like that, but you realize that it's just to push a button and it's full automation, but you have to have your mug in place and you have to put your K cup in. So that's the whole idea of the video. I was asked how does it work based on the imagery, which of course, granted, it does look complicated at first. The key thing I wanted to say was this can be triggered with other things. For example, I could talk to my AI through my phone, which has a messaging app or direct message, as we say, DM. So that can also trigger this entire coffee system. So I can be anywhere in my house or on my premises outside of my house where I catch Wi-Fi, and I can ask for coffee to be made. So, and I think that the thing is, it's not lost to me that AI is an extra layer of complexity because you can just have it function in a computer sense like a program. But I think it's important to say certain things. Like there's something to be said about that. I mean, again, you're working with AI. AI is your personal assistant, but also you can say, I want you to make coffee in 30 minutes. This natural language request should ensure that your AI will set a timer and then proceed, or something will happen, or a reminder will be sent to you, or something will happen that will allow it to. I mean, you could theoretically say anything because a program can be created. I want you to make coffee at 6 a.m. every day of this week, every weekday. Make me coffee tomorrow morning. You're in bed at night and you're talking to your AI on your phone, whether it's voice or typing, and you say, I want coffee at I'm waking up really early. I have to be up, I have to go. I want you to make it at 5 a.m. Um, and then it'll just do it. So I think there's something about the natural language ordering that you talk to your AI and then it actuates it actuates it um, triggers the system. Hope you enjoyed that. If you liked it, share with your friends. I'm out of here.